So Donald Trump, not yet president, but clearly the man of the moment, goes off to Notre Dame to see the reconstructed, beautiful cathedral there. And he was kind of the belle of the ball, wasn't he? Everybody wanted to see him. Everyone wanted to shake hands with him. They couldn't stay away from him.
I know it's a different reception when you consider that there were some world leaders. Angela Merkel comes immediately to mind, who really didn't like him on round one.
No,
but round two seems to be, I don't know, seems to be a little bit better. We're looking at Emmanuel Macron and his wife, and they seem to be pretty charming about the whole thing, and everybody's all lovey-dovey. Let's hope it lasts.
Yeah, I mean, even Prince William greeted him as the sort of representative there of the UK. Keir Starmer, our beloved Prime Minister, couldn't make it. He was over in the UAE selling Britain off to the Arabs.
Yeah. Well, to each their own.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, as soon as he goes anywhere near any place, everything kind of falls apart. So while he was on his way, I think Syria had a revolution, but he's not really able to control that, I suppose. But Donald Trump really did look presidential, I thought, you know. Jill Biden looked like she was happy to see him.
Right. It's amazing how resilient politicians are, even when it comes to somebody that they don't like, and they don't love Donald Trump, just like some in this country don't love Donald Trump. Here's the deal, though: you're stuck with him, so cope with it.
Yes.
Just cope, and so far, he can be erratic. That's one of the most interesting things about him as a politician, and I air quote that because he's really not a politician. But he can be erratic. When he's on his game, he's on his game, and he was on his game.
Yeah, he really was. And, I mean, the funny thing is that as much as they might hate him and as much as they can be as hypocritical about him as they want, there was one man who wasn't being very hypocritical, and that was Michel Barnier, the former Prime Minister of France, just recently deposed, who gave him the filthiest of looks that I've ever seen a politician give another, as you say, politician. When he was in the cathedral, Barnier kind of just scorned over at him and just really looked like, for all the world, he didn't wish to be even sitting in the same cathedral as him.
Right. And some people are going to be, once you're out of that political life, you can be as snarky and nasty as you want to be. But world leaders are going to be world leaders, and they want to look good to their people and to the American people and just say, oh, no, this is fine.
Yeah, absolutely right.
It's fine. We're all fine.
Yeah. Now, the Jill Biden picture, which I don't know whether you remember, where she's kind of looking rather lovingly at him, more so than I've ever seen her looking at her own husband, by the way. He's used that picture to sell some new Trump cologne, which I suppose is exactly what you would expect him to do.
Well, exactly. That's the Donald. It's the Donald that people know and love.
You can see the picture there. He says, "A fragrance even your enemies can't resist."
That's actually very funny.
I think it is. It's selling for $199. So if you wish to get one, you get yourself something for Christmas. But have it from me as a freebie.
Thank you, but no, I'm more of a women's fragrance kind of girl.
Fair, absolutely. That's absolutely fair enough. Let's talk about this incredible story from last week about the shooting of the United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. We've seen numerous pictures now of the assailant. Nobody seems terribly sure exactly how he managed to get away quite so easily, but in New York City you can do that. I remember being there when Big Paul Castellano got blown away on 45th Street outside Sparks Steakhouse, and the two gunmen literally just dropped their guns by the side of the car and walked away into the sort of midtown rush hour traffic.
Right. Well, that's one of the beauties of New York. If you're trying to go by car, you probably can't go anywhere. Right. If you're on foot, you can get out of somewhere very, very quickly.
Yeah.
This is such a bizarre story because we still don't have a name. And this was, for all intents and purposes, an assassination.
Yeah.
It was set up and done as an assassination, and they still don't know where this guy is. There are about 3 different places that they say that they're looking, probably Philadelphia, Washington, D.C. is another place. But in terms of, when you consider this is a city that has an extraordinary number of cameras in it,
Yes.
not as many as London, but for an American city, it has an extraordinary number of cameras. And we still only have grainy pictures of him and no real idea of where he went at all.
Right. And no real idea of who he is, really, right? Because
no, we have no name. They have some grainy pictures, a backpack that they think might be his that was dropped, and that's kind of all they have to go on. Right. I imagine they probably know who he is, but they're just not saying yet. Right. They're trying to get it confirmed.
And the suggestion initially was that he probably wasn't a professional hitman, perhaps, but obviously knew how to use a gun.
Sure.
But a lot of people in the US know how to use a gun, don't
they? They do. I do.
Yeah.
I would have no problem using a gun that somebody dropped. However, could I walk up to somebody and just shoot them? Oh, no.
Only if you really didn't like them, presumably.
Possibly if I really didn't like them, but even then I might just, sort of give them a dirty look and walk away. I'll yell you half to death, but I'm not going to take a swing.
No. And the last I read of all the various bizarre kind of possibilities was that there was some suggestion that there was possibly something to do with Thompson's wife, that there was some kind of, domestic situation that might have led somebody to lash out in some way.
Right. Well, they're looking into everything that they can in a search for answers because they just don't have any answers right now. So they're looking at him, his life. Was there something going on there? Anything that the guy probably did is going to come out, and he's the victim, which makes it seem bizarre. But at this point, they have to try to get any lead that they possibly can. Because they don't know why this happened. He's a healthcare CEO, doesn't make him a great person, but is that really the reason that he got killed? So they're looking at every aspect of his life to try to figure out, where did this come from? Who was this guy?
Absolutely extraordinary stuff. Ladona, good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed. Ladona Harvey there from KOGO Radio down there in San Diego.